Ladies, let me tell you something real. If you want a man to stay forever, you don't need tricks, games, or drama. You need words that reach his soul. When that man is with you, I mean really with you, you look him in the eye and say this: I believe in you, I respect you, I got your back. Speaking to his soul is not about fancy words, sweet talk, or scripted lines. It's about understanding that every man, no matter how strong, successful, or confident he looks on the outside, has a quiet place inside of him that longs to be seen, heard, and understood. Most people speak to the surface. They talk to his job, his money, his looks, his ego. But when you speak to his soul, you go deeper. You reach the part of him that feels, that dreams, that sometimes doubts himself when no one is looking. And when you get there, when you make him feel safe in that space, he will never forget it. A man can get compliments anywhere. He can be told he's handsome. He can be flirted with. He can be admired for his car or his clothes. But that doesn't feed him on the inside. What feeds him is knowing that you see who he really is when all of that is stripped away, that you see the man behind the titles, the achievements, and even the mistakes. When you speak to his soul, you remind him that he is more than what he does. You tell him that he matters just because he exists. That changes everything. Sometimes speaking to his soul is as simple as saying, I see how hard you're trying. Those words can break a man open because the world rarely stops to notice his effort. They only notice his results. When you acknowledge his effort, you give him fuel to keep going. You tell him he's not invisible. You let him know that he is valued not just for what he brings to the table, but for who he is while bringing it. When you speak to his soul, you are also giving him permission to be human. Men are often told they must be strong, they must never show weakness, they must have it all figured out. But when you create a space where he can lay his guard down, where he can be vulnerable without judgment, that's where real intimacy begins. He starts to trust that with you, he doesn't have to perform. He doesn't have to pretend. And that is when he starts giving you the most authentic version of himself because you made him feel safe enough to show it. Speaking to his soul doesn't always have to be serious either. Sometimes it's sharing a laugh when he feels weighed down, reminding him of the joy he has in life. Sometimes it's sending a simple message during a tough day just to let him know you're thinking of him. It's about being present in the little ways that whisper, I see you, I hear you, I'm here for you. When you do this consistently, you don't just win his attention, you win his devotion. Because a man who feels seen, understood, and respected will move mountains to keep that feeling. Speaking to his soul is not about manipulation. It's about connection. It's about speaking to the part of him that no one else bothers to reach. And when you do that, you don't just touch his heart. You earn a place in it. Expressing belief in him is one of the most powerful things you can do because belief is fuel. Everyone in this world is carrying battles you can't see. Even the strongest man you know has moments where he questions himself, where he wonders if he's enough, if he's doing it right, if he's making the right choices. The world is quick to criticize, quick to point out his mistakes, quick to remind him of where he fell short. But it is slow to tell him, I believe in you. When you become the person who says those words, who looks him in the eyes and reminds him of his potential, you light a fire inside him that makes him want to fight harder, stand taller, and keep showing up. Belief is more than encouragement. Encouragement cheers for what a man has already done. Belief speaks to what he can do, even when he hasn't done it yet. It's looking at him in the middle of the storm, in the middle of his struggle, and saying, I know you've got this. That matters because when a man feels like the world is against him, those words tell him that at least one person is on his side. He may not show it right away, but he will carry those words with him when he gets back up and tries again. Believing in him also means trusting him with the weight of your faith. It's letting him know that you see the man he is capable of becoming, not just the man standing in front of you. A lot of people only love the finished product. They want to support him when he's successful, when he's winning, when everything looks good. But real belief shows up when he is still building, when he is still fighting, when he hasn't figured it all out. That's when belief matters most because that's when he needs it most. Sometimes expressing belief in him isn't loud or dramatic. It's in the small things. It's when you tell him you trust his decision making, when you ask for his advice, when you value his opinion. Men feel validated when they know you respect their mind and their judgment. When you show him that you believe in his ability to lead, to solve problems, to protect and provide, you are not just complimenting him, you are strengthening him. It's also important to speak belief over his dreams. Even if they sound crazy, even if they scare you, even if you don't know how they're going to work out, you may be the only person who ever tells them, I think you can do it. And when that seed of belief takes root, it can grow into action, into courage, into breakthrough. Your belief can be the reason he doesn't give up on himself. Belief isn't blind. It doesn't mean you ignore mistakes or pretend everything is perfect. It means that even when he falls, you remind him that falling isn't the end. It means that you see failure as part of the process, not a final verdict. When you express that kind of belief, you become a safe place for him. You become the voice that drowns out doubt. And a man who feels believed in will keep coming back to that voice because it gives him strength to face the world. Showing respect and loyalty is one of the most underrated yet most powerful ways to make a man stay connected to you for life. Respect is not just about being polite. It's about how you treat him when no one is looking, how you speak about him when he isn't in the room, and how you honor who he is even when you're upset or frustrated. A man can feel love, but if he doesn't feel respected, that love will eventually feel empty. Respect is the foundation of how a man experiences love. It's the silent message that tells him, I see you as a man and I value you. Respect is more than just agreeing with everything he says. It's about listening to him, considering his opinions, and not belittling his ideas. When a man shares his dreams or his thoughts with you, he is being vulnerable. If you roll your eyes, dismiss him, or criticize him harshly, you're not just disagreeing, you're wounding his pride. But when you show him that his voice matters, that his perspective is valuable, it builds his confidence in himself and in you. It tells him that with you, he can be himself without fear of being torn down. Loyalty is the other side of the coin. Loyalty is not just staying faithful in a romantic sense. It's standing with him when life gets tough. It's choosing to be on his side even when it would be easier to criticize or walk away. Loyalty says, I'm not just here for the good times. I'm here when you're struggling, when you're doubting yourself, when you're fighting to keep going. A man will never forget the person who stayed when everyone else left. Showing loyalty means protecting his name and his character, even in private conversations. Don't speak poorly of him to friends or family just to vent. What you say about him when he isn't there says more about your love than what you say to his face. When he knows you will defend him and speak well of him behind closed doors, he feels secure. That kind of trust creates a bond that's hard to break. Respect also means allowing him to lead in the areas where he's strong and supporting him when he's growing in the areas where he's weak. It's not about shrinking yourself or losing your voice. It's about working as a team. When you show him that you trust his leadership and that you're willing to follow his vision for your life together, it motivates him to rise to the occasion and be the best man he can be. Even in moments of conflict, respect and loyalty go a long way. Disagreements are normal, but how you handle them determines whether they build or break the relationship. Avoid tearing him down with insults or attacking his manhood. Focus on the issue, not on his character. When you argue respectfully, you prove that you can work through problems without disrespecting each other. That deepens the trust between you and strengthens your bond. Ultimately, respect and loyalty create an environment where love can grow without fear. A man who feels respected feels safe to give his all. A man who sees loyalty feels inspired to stay committed. When he knows that you honor him, stand by him, and believe in him, even when life isn't perfect, he will go out of his way to love you, protect you, and make you proud. Respect and loyalty are not just actions. They are love in its most powerful form. Admiration outlasts passion because passion, as powerful as it is, can be temporary. Passion is that spark, that rush, that intense energy that makes your heart race in the beginning. It's exciting, it's addictive, and it feels unstoppable. But passion can fade when life gets busy, when routines set in, when stress and responsibility take center stage. That's why admiration is so important. Admiration is deeper than physical attraction. It's the quiet respect, the awe, the appreciation for who he is as a person. Passion can light the fire, but admiration keeps it burning long after the initial flames die down. When you admire a man, you are telling him that you see him, not just his looks, not just his charm, but his character, his work ethic, his drive, and the way he handles life. Admiration says, I am proud of the man you are. And every man, no matter how confident he seems, craves that from the person he loves. It is one thing to be desired physically, but being admired for the life he is building, for the choices he is making, for the battles he is fighting, that fills him in a way nothing else can. Admiration turns ordinary moments into motivation. If he comes home from a hard day and you notice the effort he put in, telling him, I appreciate what you do for us, can fuel him more than any grand romantic gesture. It lets him know that his work isn't invisible, that his sacrifices matter. That feeling doesn't just keep the relationship strong. It drives him to keep showing up for you, to keep pushing forward, to keep being the man you believe in. This doesn't mean you admire blindly. True admiration is about seeing the good and recognizing it, even when things aren't perfect. It's easy to admire someone when they're winning, when everything is going right, when they're shining. But admiration that outlasts passion is there when he's struggling too, when he's trying to get back on his feet, when he's learning from his mistakes, when he's putting in the effort to grow. That kind of admiration doesn't just flatter him, it strengthens him. And admiration is contagious. When you express admiration, you inspire him to live up to it. If you tell him, I love the way you take care of things, he will want to do it even more. If you say, I respect how you never give up, he will fight even harder. Your admiration becomes a mirror that reflects back to him the best parts of who he is, even when he forgets. Passion on its own can't survive the test of time. Life will throw challenges your way. There will be seasons where the romance feels less intense, where responsibilities weigh heavier, where you don't have the same energy as you did in the beginning. But admiration, that will carry you through, because admiration makes you choose him over and over again, even on the days when you don't feel butterflies. A man who is admired feels empowered to keep growing, to keep becoming better, to keep loving deeper. And as he grows, your admiration grows too, creating a cycle that strengthens the bond between you. That's why admiration outlasts passion. It's not a fleeting feeling. It's a conscious choice. It's the glue that keeps love strong when the fire burns low, and the fuel that reignites it when the moment is right. Making him feel needed is one of the most powerful ways to deepen his connection to you and keep the relationship thriving. Men are wired to want to provide, to protect, and to have a purpose within the relationship. When you make him feel like he is an important part of your life, you're not just boosting his ego. You're giving him a reason to keep showing up with his best. Feeling needed doesn't mean he has to solve all your problems or carry all your weight, but it does mean he knows he adds real value to your life. In today's world, many people confuse independence with never needing anyone. And yes, it's powerful to be strong, capable, and self-sufficient. But letting a man know you still need him does not make you weak. It makes him feel trusted. Something as simple as asking for his help, taking his advice seriously, or letting him handle something important shows him that you believe in his ability to step up. That belief alone is incredibly motivating. It tells him that he is not just there as decoration. He is a meaningful part of your life and your future. When a man doesn't feel needed, he can start to feel invisible. He might start asking himself, what am I here for? Do I make a difference in her life? Over time, that can lead to distance, frustration, or even resentment. But when you intentionally make space for him to contribute, whether that's emotionally, mentally, or physically, you give him a reason to invest even more in the relationship. He feels like he has a role, a mission, a place where he is important and irreplaceable. Making him feel needed isn't always about big gestures. It's often in the little things, letting him open the jar, asking him to fix something you can't, letting him drive when you're tired, or telling him you feel safer when he's around. These small acts of reliance tell him, I trust you, I value you, and I want you involved. That trust creates a deep emotional bond because men thrive when they know they are providing something meaningful, whether that's protection, support, wisdom, or love. It's also important to verbalize this feeling. Say things like, I'm so glad I have you, or I couldn't have done this without you. Words of affirmation remind him that he is not just there, but that he matters. And when you show gratitude for what he does, even the simple things, it encourages him to do even more. Men will naturally give more to someone who genuinely appreciates what they give. This doesn't mean you have to pretend to be helpless or act like you can't do anything on your own. Men respect capable women, but they love when those capable women still allow them to be a source of strength and support. It's about balance. Show him that even though you can stand on your own, you choose to lean on him. That choice makes him feel honored and respected. Ultimately, making him feel needed gives him purpose, and purpose is powerful. A man who feels needed feels anchored to the relationship. He feels like his presence matters, like his love is making a difference. And that feeling drives him to keep loving harder, giving more, and staying committed, because every man wants to feel that what he's given is both wanted and valued. Inspiring his best self is one of the most beautiful gifts you can give a man because it pushes him to grow into the greatest version of who he already is. Every man has potential inside of him. Dreams he hasn't spoken aloud, goals he hasn't yet reached, and a higher standard of living he hasn't fully stepped into. When you inspire his best self, you become a mirror that reflects back to him the man he can be, not just the man he is right now. You show him what he's capable of when he gives his all, and you motivate him to rise to that level. Inspiration isn't about nagging him or telling him what he's doing wrong. It's about speaking life into him. It's about encouraging him when he's tired, reminding him of his strengths when he's feeling weak, and celebrating his progress no matter how small. When a man knows that someone is genuinely cheering for him, he starts to believe he can do more, be more, and achieve more. Your words become fuel for his confidence, and that confidence drives action. Sometimes inspiring his best self means challenging him, not in a way that tears him down, but in a way that calls him higher. It's saying, I know you're capable of more than this, and I believe you can get there. Men respect a woman who pushes them to grow, but still loves them through the process. That combination of love and expectation motivates him to level up without feeling like he's being judged or rejected. You can also inspire him through your own actions. When you chase your goals, work on yourself, and keep growing as a person, it encourages him to do the same. He sees that you are serious about becoming your best self, and it challenges him to match that energy. Growth in a relationship is contagious. When one person rises, the other is often inspired to rise with them. Inspiring his best self also means being patient with his process. Growth takes time. Men often put pressure on themselves to succeed quickly, to fix things immediately, to get everything right the first time. Your role is to remind him that the journey matters just as much as the destination. When you encourage him to keep going even when progress feels slow, you give him the strength to stay consistent. And don't underestimate the power of celebrating his wins, even the small ones. If he takes a step toward his goal, acknowledge it. If he overcomes a fear or handles a tough situation well, tell him you notice. That recognition builds momentum. It makes him want to keep going because he knows his effort is seen and appreciated. Ultimately, inspiring his best self means loving him where he is while believing in where he's going. It's giving him both comfort and challenge. Comfort that he's accepted, and challenge that he can grow. A man who is inspired in this way will not only rise to meet his potential, but will feel deeply connected to the person who believed in him. And when he becomes his best self, he will want to give that best self back to you over and over again.